I tweeted this out, but I do think it's kind of the best way to describe it. That Andy Dalton new car smell wore off pretty quickly, didn't it? Yeah, it did. All of a sudden, it went from the honeymoon phase to, we're back in this studio apartment, and why don't you pick up your laundry? Like it got pretty real pretty quick, didn't it? And the offense is what the offense is. I don't say this as a compliment. It looked like the offense Bryce Young was leading weeks 1 and week 2. And that's not to say that players weren't making plays, because Chuba Hubbard ran for almost 100 yards, and he wasn't doing that in week 1 and week 2.
No, he wasn't.
But what I'm saying is the thing that held back the offense this week against the Bears was the thing that held back the offense in week 1 and week 2. And that is the inability to push the ball down the field. Bryce Young this year averages 4.81 yards per attempt. And by the way, that includes a kind of a nice little dime ball down the right sideline to Miles Sanders in this game. So week 1 and week 2 would have been a little bit lower. Andy Dalton, however, had been better. He had pushed the ball down the field. He had taken more chances. Andy Dalton in week 5 versus Chicago, 4.85 yards per attempt. Bryce Young, 4.81. 4.81 for Bryce Young, 4.85 for Andy Dalton in week 5. That's an issue. And you could say, you can't blame Bryce Young's inability to throw downfield. You can't blame Bryce Young's noodle arm for Andy Dalton not testing it downfield. Now you have to start looking at the common denominator, which is Dave Canales calling plays. Dave Canales was asked after the game why there weren't more passes downfield. This is what he had to say.
Third downs, like when a defensive line is fresh and they can rush, it helps when you extend the drive, you can take those shots, and maybe that's on me, mixing in those shot plays too, just so that we can get those opportunities down the field, because good things happen. Sometimes you make the play, sometimes you get a defensive pass interference and you get a, extension of a drive or get yards that way. So a mix of it, but I don't know what this day would have come out of, we have to just do better. We got to do better on third down. We got to get off the field. And so we can play complementary football. And that's the goal, is to try to get us back to playing good football, which we did the last 2 weeks.
Maybe it is you. You're the guy calling the plays. Maybe it's me not getting those shots. Yeah. You have to call shot plays. You have to. And we know Andy Dalton is willing to throw them because we have a decade of him as a starter throwing it downfield. And guess what? Like you look at Dave Canales' offense last year, they did take shots downfield. But do you know what else they had? Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You don't have to scheme those guys open. Tell Mike Evans to run a go. Baker Mayfield's going to have a pretty good feeling that he can throw that. You got to scheme open some of these Panther wide receivers. Deontay Johnson, I like as a player. I think he's better than he's showing. Deontay Johnson this season under Andy Dalton continues to be inefficient. And I pointed this out last week. He had back-to-back weeks of a bunch of yards. He had 122 one week. What was it, 80-something the next week? He had a touchdown in each game. Everybody was excited. I did point out multiple times he's got 15 catches on 27 targets. Efficiency matters. Since Andy Dalton has taken over, when you mix in the Bears game, Deontay has caught just 54% of the balls thrown his way.
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time for the people in the back.
Since Andy Dalton has taken over, Deontay Johnson has caught just 54% of the balls thrown towards Deontay Johnson, the balls targeting Deontay Johnson.
Woof.
Just to put that in perspective, to be in the top 25 in the NFL, of guys who have caught at least 10 passes. So we're not talking about hey, this tight end has caught all 3 of the targets directed towards him. At least 10 passes caught. To be in the top 25 of the NFL, you need to catch 71% of your targets just among wide receivers. So eliminate all running backs, eliminate all tight ends. Just among wide receivers. To be in the top 25 of the NFL, you need to catch 71% of your targets. Deontay Johnson is catching 54, and he's supposed to be the top dog. He's supposed to be the number 1.
Take that for data.
Chuba Hubbard in the run game are being effective. The quarterback and the play calling have to be the ones to take advantage of the run game being effective. Once you get a defense respecting the run, beautiful. Chuba Hubbard's never going to – actually, I love a 38-yard touchdown run, which he did not – 38 is now a tying career high. He's popped 38-yarders each of the last two weeks.
Dude wasn't even touched on that play.
I love long touchdown runs, but the way a running game really, really helps you out when you don't have a home run hitter at running back is it allows your other home run hitters to strike. Chuba Hubbard is a 6 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, play action 50-yard touchdown. It's on Andy Dalton and it's on Dave Canales to use that. Again, Dave Canales was talking about the lack of third down success after the game, but this time attributing it to why Chuba Hubbard didn't get more attention and carries.
It really was the third downs. It was just a bad day on third down, just didn't allow us to continue in the rhythm. I like trying to mix things. If I just keep running the ball, they're going to play defense that way, but trying to find that mix and rhythm and not extending those drives, really just you get a couple plays, you're punting, trying to find a rhythm. It gets hard. So I would have loved to have made half of those third downs so we could see what this run game could have been today, because I thought our guys blocked well, I thought our running backs pressed the hole. But to get into that flow and rhythm of it, we didn't allow ourselves a chance to do that.
Do you know what's crazy? Take away the 38-yard touchdown run. Take it away. Chuba Hubbard averaged 5 yards per carry.
That's good.
That's great.
That's really awesome. I'll take that every week.
You have to use that. You have to use that. The problem with the offense, and I put a lot of this at Dave Canales and healthy amount on the quarterbacks, the quarterback's always going to get blame, is when you have something working, it never spreads. It's never the pass game is working. Now the run game is going to work. It never becomes infectious, and it has to. That's what a good play caller does. Your running back gets 100 yards, you turn that into an extra 75 yards passing. Passing game gets going. Deontay Johnson needs to be doubled. You need to put a safety over the top. Now we can gash him with the tight end over the middle. Now we can get him with the running back off tackle. Now we can use a pump fake and go. You have to have things that build off of it, and we haven't seen that from Dave Canales. If it's not good in the first quarter, it's not good in the third quarter.
The only time we saw that was the Raiders game.
And the Raiders game, everything worked like from the jump.
Well, yeah.
It was.
And someone in the Bengals game too.
Little bit. What like, to use a pitcher as an example, like if no one's swinging at your curveball, you throw the fastball, right? You throw maybe a changeup. You throw something to get them set up, so now you throw the curve. Oh, look, now it's working. If the pass game isn't working, and it wasn't, you completed 4 yards, whatever it was, whatever that stat I had for you earlier, 4.85 yards per attempt passing. If it's not working, all right, we got to go run the ball. All right, we got to get him on the move. All right, we got to do these things. Now we can use that success to open up the pass. And on top of that, and I don't even know if this applies here, but it feels like it should be mentioned. Now you're losing guys left and right to injury. Now you have guys getting ejected at the end of the game. Now you have a bunch of stuff you have to deal with outside of the game that just becomes more frustrating. Austin Corbett, starting center, done for the year. Taylor Moton, starting right tackle, who, by the way, hadn't missed a game in 8 years.
Literally 6 years.
Yeah,
hadn't missed a
6
snap.
years. Out this upcoming Sunday. He's week to week. Xavier Legette, shoulder, he's day-to-day. Jadeveon Clowney, shoulder, he's day-to-day. It only gets tougher from here for the Panthers.